Okay, so welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today's topic, well, let's just say it's messy and it's definitely still unfolding.
Yeah, no kidding. This one's got it all accusations, legal drama, huge names.
And of course, we've got social media blowing up too. So we're
Right.
talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, the fallout from their movie. It ends with us from last year.
2024 to be exact. And yeah, as of today, April 3rd, 2025, this thing is far from over.
Right, so that's what we're here to do today. Cut through the noise and give you a clear picture of what's gone down, what's being said, and yeah, what we can glean from all this.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot out there, different versions, different perspectives, but we're going to try to break it down.
Exactly. So for anyone just tuning in, let's start at the very beginning. What's the spark that ignited this whole legal battle?
Okay, so in a nutshell, it starts with Blake Lively accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment on the set of their film. You guessed it. It ends with us.
Now remind me, when was that filmed?
Filming happened back in 2023. The movie premiered in August 2024, and Lively's complaint went public around December of last year.
Okay, got it.
And of course, things escalated pretty quickly from there. We're talking a $400 million defamation lawsuit filed by Baldoni against Lively.
Yeah, 400 million. That's not chump change. Clearly, things got serious fast.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Lively's allegations. Specifically, what is she actually claiming happened?
So Lively filed a formal complaint with California's Civil Rights Department. That's the state agency that investigates this kind of stuff. Discrimination, harassment, you name it.
Right, makes sense.
And in that complaint, she details a number of incidents allegedly involving Baldoni.
Okay, and what were the main things that she's accusing him of?
Two big things: unwanted physical contact, unwanted kisses, and then also what she calls creepy comments, just inappropriate behavior on set.
Creepy comments. That's pretty vague. Were there any specific examples mentioned?
Yeah, actually, there's one instance that's been reported pretty widely. Apparently, back in May of 2023, Lively sent a text to some Sony execs.
Sony being the studio behind the film.
Exactly right. And in this text message, she's expressing concern about pressure she was feeling from Baldoni to do more nude scenes than originally agreed upon.
Oh, wow.
And also to improvise intimate scenes which weren't really in the script.
So basically going off script in a way that made her uncomfortable.
That seems to be the gist of it. And on top of that, there are reports that two other actresses are willing to testify about their own uncomfortable experiences with Baldoni.
Wow. So potentially multiple people coming forward with similar stories.
Mm.
That adds a whole other dimension to this.
Absolutely, it does.
Okay, so we've heard Lively's side, but what about Justin Baldoni? What's his response to all of this?
Well, he's vehemently denied all of Lively's accusations, calls them completely false.
Straight up denial.
Yeah, and he doesn't just stop there. He actually claims that Lively is trying to extort him.
Extort him. Yeah.
And he even suggests that Ryan Reynolds, Lively's husband, is in on it somehow.
So he's basically claiming it's some kind of a conspiracy.
That seems to be his angle. And to add fuel to the fire, Baldoni has actually posted text message exchanges that he had with Lively on his own website.
On his website.
Yeah, presenting them as proof that she was, cool with him during filming.
Interesting tactic. What do you think he's hoping to accomplish with that?
Well, I guess he's trying to paint a different picture, right? Because show that their interactions were professional, or at least from his point of view, that there was no issue.
Right. But as we know, text messages can be taken out of context. It's not always the full story.
Absolutely. Context is everything. And of course, Baldoni's not just playing defense. He's also gone on the offensive with his own accusations against Lively.
So what's he saying about her?
Well, he claims that she was a total control freak on set, that she was constantly rewriting scenes.
And who's he saying was helping her with this rewriting?
Well, according to Baldoni, she had help from Ryan Reynolds, her husband, and even Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Now, this is getting interesting.
Yeah, so Baldoni's basically saying that Lively and her posse were meddling with his movie and ultimately damaged the final product.
And of course, we can't forget that huge defamation lawsuit that he filed.
Right. $400 million worth of alleged damages. He's calling Lively's actions a straight-up smear campaign.
So we've got these two completely different narratives battling it out and this massive lawsuit looming over everything. What's been happening on the legal front lately?
Okay, so there have been some developments recently. On March 20th, Lively's legal team filed a motion to dismiss Baldoni's defamation lawsuit.
Try to get the whole thing thrown out.
Exactly. But as of April 1st, just a couple of days ago, the judge denied that motion.
Meaning the lawsuit's still on.
It's still very much alive, which means we're moving into the discovery phase.
Okay, so for those of us not familiar with legalese, what exactly does the discovery phase entail?
So discovery is basically where both sides start gathering evidence to build their case. This can involve things like taking depositions, which are basically sworn statements from witnesses outside of court. They might request documents like emails, texts, anything relevant to the case.
So potentially a lot of digging through private conversations.
Oh, yeah, and they can even issue subpoenas to third parties who might have information that's relevant to the case.
So in this case, we could be talking about lawyers questioning Lively under oath, questioning Baldoni under oath, maybe even going after those Sony execs, or Ryan Reynolds, or even Taylor Swift, given the allegations about the script rewrites.
It's all on the table at this point.
Wow. So things could get really interesting really fast. Are there any legal experts weighing in on how they think this might all play out?
There are, and there are some differing opinions. Some legal analysts think that California's anti-SLAPP law could work in Lively's favor.
Now, what is this anti-SLAPP law?
It's basically a law that's designed to prevent people from using lawsuits to silence critics, especially when those critics are speaking out about public interest issues like harassment.
So the idea is to protect free speech, even if what's being said might be damaging to someone's reputation.
Exactly. But on the other hand, there's this new documentary that just aired called Dispute, Lively versus Baldoni. And that documentary actually suggests that if Baldoni's countersuit is successful, it could really change the legal landscape for these kinds of situations.
A documentary already. That's wild. So with all this going on, what's the public reaction been like? Social media must be buzzing.
Oh, social media is definitely on fire. It's like the whole internet's picked a side and they're digging in.
So who are people siding with?
It's a pretty stark divide. You've got a large contingent of people who are fully behind Blake Lively. They see her as brave for speaking out, and they point to those text messages as pretty damning evidence.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the folks who are on Team Baldoni?
Well, they're just as vocal. They're
Yeah.
basically saying Lively is a liar, that Baldoni's the real victim here. Some are even claiming that evidence has been fabricated to make him look bad.
There's a lot of mistrust flying around.
Oh, yeah, tons of it. And it's not just on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days. Even TikTok's gotten in on the action. There are memes everywhere. Some people are portraying Lively as like this detective uncovering the truth, while Baldoni's being painted as the villain.
It's always a sign that something's hit the mainstream when the memes start coming out.
Right, and adding to the whole whirlwind, there was this post going around on March 31st that claimed that the New York Times is biased in Lively's favor and that Baldoni has the real truth.
So accusations of media bias on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's a mess. And beyond the people who are firmly on one side or the other, you also have folks who are wondering if this whole thing is just a big PR stunt.
A publicity stunt. To what end?
Who knows? Maybe to drum up interest in the movie, or maybe for some other reason entirely. Some people are genuinely concerned for both Lively and Baldoni. They just want everyone to be okay.
It's definitely a complicated situation with a lot of strong emotions involved. And speaking of complicated, the Dispute documentary has added another layer of controversy with some people questioning how objective it really is.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's got an opinion on that too.
So trying to step back and look at the big picture, where do things actually stand right now, as of today, April 3rd, 2025?
Well, it's messy, that's for sure. We've got serious allegations from Lively's strong denials and a massive countersuit from Baldoni. And now that the judge has denied Lively's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, the whole thing is moving forward into the discovery phase.
Which, as you said, could unearth even more information, maybe even drag in people like Taylor Swift.
It's definitely possible.
Well, this has been a real whirlwind of a deep dive. Thanks for helping us make sense of it all. It's a fascinating case that really shows just how tricky it can be to figure out the truth when you've got conflicting accounts and a ton of public scrutiny.
That's Hollywood for you. And it definitely makes you think about how we perceive these kinds of public battles and how hard it can be to separate fact from fiction. It's a good reminder that there's often a lot more going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one, and we encourage everyone listening to do the same. It'll be interesting to see what comes out in the discovery phase and how this whole saga ultimately unfolds.
Yeah, it's definitely a story that's far from over. Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.